Who let the cats out? Man, mountain ling. Who let the cats out?
Well, hey everybody. We got this Harbor Freight tumbler. $75, believe it or not. People talk about cheap tools, but $75 isn't exactly cheap to me. And probably not to most people. See a problem? The main problem, I've already checked this out, of course, before I turned the camera on, but this is a powered wheel. This is free spinning. It should have a ball bearing at the either end so it can just sit there and spin. That's all it needs to do. It's not the most complicated part on the machine by any means. Yet they managed to F it up by not using bearings but bushings. These little plastic bushings here, you can see they're wearing away already, and they're locked up. So we're going to take it apart. We're going to grease it. I could take it back. I could take it back to Harbor Freight and get another POS just like it that would have the same problem. But I decided that I would rather try to fix this one first instead of having to drive all the way back down to Corinth, Mississippi. So that's what we're going to do today, is try to fix this POS. Hopefully find some way to grease it or something. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing, honestly, but we're going to be doing it, that's for sure. We have a bronze. See how whack the back looks? It's just rough. Anyway, this is bronze, and bronze, of course, is copper and tin, as opposed to brass, which would be copper and zinc, right? So this is bronze, and we're going to put it in a tumbling barrel with some shite and solution and see what happens. It's a nice yellow color right now. I want it to stay that color. The back of it has a more coppery look. Anyway, let's see what it looks like when it comes out in the morning. 24 hours. After the bronze skull was cast, I reloaded the crucible with copper and cast this skull. My intention was to try to minimize the bubbles. That's why the tin, right? See how smooth, how much smoother that one is than this one. But this one is still better than the ones previous, believe it or not. So this has a small percentage of tin. This isn't 999 copper. This is, 98.9 copper or whatever. So we're going to do those two big ones next. If we take a look at the exploded view diagram, these are the rods. This is the one that's attached to the motor. This is one that's free spinning, except it's not at all. Represented by this rod here. And if you look on the end, where there should be this nice bearing, you instead see this plastic coupling and a C-clip, and then this metal piece right there, right? If you follow it through, it appears to be the exact same thing on the other side minus the cap. We're not going to try to get too far into this. As I said, it is still under warranty. We can replace it with another one, but again, it would be identical, so one would assume the problems would be identical. So anyway, when I bought this thing, it came with a distressingly large amount of belts. There's 5 extra belts plus the belt that's on it. And to be honest with you, where they were selling them, right next to it was a display, and the display said, be sure to buy some extra belts. And they were selling, I don't know, 20 packs or whatever of belts. So based upon that information, I assumed that any problems I had would be with the drive system, the belt, right? But no, in a surprise twist, the one part that should be pretty much problem free is creating a problem. So let's get her apart. I've noticed it's put together with these number 1 Phillips screws, cheaply punched out. Not you know, they're not tightly fitted, and considering how many times you're supposed to be able to access the belt compartment, they didn't really truly make it all that accessible. So we're just trying to get to right here on top. So I imagine the best way to do that would be to remove this 2-layer monstrosity. I mean, apparently it's for ventilation. The other rock tumblers simply used punched holes in the side, but they decided to go with this 2-tier design for whatever reason. Multi-piece, multi-plastic. Anyway, yeah, let's see if we can get it apart. Hey y'all, I'm sorry I forgot. Let me turn some of this stuff off. Alright, there, that's a little better. I know I was supposed to bring you back when I got the other 2 skulls out. And I you know, totally slipped my mind. I got a guy, bought one, I had to do some stuff, yada yada. You don't want to hear my excuses. Point is, I got the first one out. This is the probably 98% copper. We're trying to minimize the bubbling, and it seems to have done that. It looks pretty good. And then the one that had more tin in it, the yellow one that we put in a fresh solution. Well, when I opened the container, I immediately thought of you. I gotta share this with somebody. So, I haven't seen the skull. I have no idea what it looks like. Could be copper, could be a brass color, could be a dark red bronze, like a brown. We just don't know. It will have black haze on it though, so fortunately that wipes off. That's not really a problem. Makes reusing the solution a problem. Makes cleanup a hassle. Gets all over you, but won't harm the metal. Oh, look at that. Like coffee. Uh-huh. Oh my goodness. It's like shaving cream. Black shaving cream. Not cool. It looks red. Remember, it was not red when we put it in there. It looks very much like copper, does it not? I'll do a little bit more cleaning to that, but there's not a whole lot left to do. And let's put it up beside a pure copper skull for comparison there. There's a color difference. This one's more red. And of course, that back is something only a mother could love. So, didn't totally forget you. Now I got to clean all this mess up, and I'm sure you don't want to see that. So, we'll see you next time. Good enough, right?
Well, well, well.
Okay, the end of the shaft, see it moving there, is right up against the belt. I mean, there's just space there, but my intention was to put a blob of grease on that side, and that's not going to work with that belt there. It would get on the belt and bad things would ensue. But that's what we're looking at on the inside. There's the notorious belt drive. Seems okay to me. A little loose actually, but it's been working alright. This is what's not working. So. Okay. Plan C, I think, at this time. I am no fan of these pins. These are pins. They come in different shapes. Alright, there's these little diamond looking ones, and there's round ones, and these look like flying saucers. They have some weird name, but the ones that suck the hardest are these pins. They go through the finest of sieves. Whenever you rinse this stuff out, you have to use a catch basin where the pins go through it. Whenever you're draining your solutions, you got to worry about pins going through it. They're magnetic. They're supposed to be stainless steel, but they're magnetic. So they're obviously not what I consider true stainless steel. I hear they're just the thing for reloading, cleaning brass for reloads, but that's not what we're doing here. So I wish I had. You can order this in 3 shape. This is shot, stainless steel shot for your. You can order it in 3 shape or 4 shape. 4 shape has the pins in it. And the first time I ordered it, I got the stuff without the pins on some advice from old timers, and it worked great. And the second time I ordered it, I forgot to order it without the pins, and I got these, and Yeah, I see why people say don't use them. I understand perfectly now. So we're going to reload the barrels and put it back on. And we'll see you next time we got to dump it out. Plan C is a Q-tip. We're going to try to grease it with a Q-tip. Of course, you understand plan A was to buy, was to purchase a, let's turn this one off a little bit quieter. Yeah, plan A was to buy a new one, so I wouldn't have these stupid problems. I don't think this is going to work. Yeah, this screw wouldn't come undone, so I'll turn the entire thing. It's a pile. It might be a $75 pile, but it's still a pile. I've run out of good things to say. You shouldn't have to be working on something on day 5. I'm taking the I'm taking that cap off right now. I don't want to fill it with grease. So bear with me or I'll cut this part out. Depending on how I'm feeling at the editing table, I reckon. Alright, so we got the little cap out. We're going to put some grease in it. Is this going to help or hurt? Yes. It's either going to help it spin or it's going to like migrate up the rod and get it on the tumbler wheels, and then yeah. So that's what that part looks like. That is that's plastic dust, and it's stuck to some silicone. I sprayed it with silicone on day 3 when this problem started, so less than 3 days operation. In fact, honestly, I don't think I even turned it on day 1, so probably 48 hours, 72 hours at most before it started acting up. Alright, we're going to put this back on. We're going to grease it. I guess someone could use like Vaseline or something along those lines here. The point, I guess, is that you shouldn't have to. It should be built better. And if it's not going to be built any better, they shouldn't charge as much. Well, that's a lot better. It's still not anywhere near it would be with bearings. With bearings, you could spin that and it would stay spinning for a while. Unfortunately, I don't see any way to retrograde it with what I have at hand. If somebody was good with printing parts, 3D printing parts, they could make some kind of bearing holder for this. But then you'd worry that the 3D printed part would then be the weak part of the link, right? is what it is, and that ain't much. So we're going to slide this back over here like so. We're going to put this steaming pile back together and see if it'll work, at least for another little while, until we have to take it apart again to mess with it again, because we really didn't fix anything, huh? All we did was add a little lubrication. That's not going to do anything but buy us a little bit of time. But at this point, that's pretty much all we can do is buy a little bit of time. I'm still not sure what the future holds for this thing. I'm still not sure how getting another one, would be any better. But do not get oil on belt. Belt may slip or break. Yeah, well, you gotta put oil on it somewhere, or put bearings in it that don't need oil, sealed bearings like this one. So yeah, thumbs down, Harbor Freight. You did me wrong. Disappointed yet again. The only thing that'd been worse is if I'd bought it online and paid $80 for it. So for now, it's back going. I got cold this morning. Well, we gotta pack up some eBay stuff. It's Saturday. And I want to try to get some of this eBay stuff out. So we need to dump these real quick, find something to slap in them, and get on the eBay stuff. So I sold this one. We're gonna put it in and get the final polish. Hey, Smut, what you doing, buddy boy? Wow. No. Alright, so one of these I think has a skull in it. Surprise, surprise. The other one should have excuse me. Man, I tried to polish some copper shot one time, and they got mixed in with, oh God, don't ever do that. That was bad. Anyway, where was I when the thought train derailed? One of these has a skull in it. The other one has brass. Yesterday evening, we did one quick melt to melt down the last of the brass. We had a really thick borax coating on the inside, and that acted as a shield when I poured it into my little mold and gave it a really, really smooth top. I don't want to make it sound like this is something I did intentionally. It was accidental, but it was fortuitous, And I think it looked real nice. And I'm curious to see if the brass pieces we put in the solution are still brass, or do they look like copper now? Because you remember the bronze skull looks more like copper than it does brass at this point. Of course, that may just be a characteristic of copper, but still. If it's yellow when it goes in, one would expect it to be shiny yellow when it comes out, not copper color. And with all that being said, that must be a do. That must be all that ado people can do without. Without further ado. That must have been what all that was. Excessive babble. Oh, don't that look tasty. Oh, that looks even better. The actual fluid doesn't look that bad. This will set, and I'll reuse it a time or two for the primary polish. I'll use fresh solution for the final polish. Okay. Looks pretty good. Oh, that's just black. It's black as death. I should have separated those two solutions. See how smooth the top came out? It had about that much flux on top of it. This one had the most flux on top. Might still have some stuck right there in the middle. I can't really tell for all the bubbles. Anyway, yeah. Let me take these out and clean them up. Get everything started back up again. We'll holler at y'all later. Hey, if I ever get around to doing my hot pot review video, this would be the criticism of the three-legged stand. It has a really short cord on it, and when you unplug it, if you jostle it at all, it falls off that three-legged stand because it's a three-legged stand and inherently unstable. Plus the pot, this part here, this large square part, is cast iron and makes the pot very tippy. So, luckily it was only bismuth and no damage was done. But yeah, this is basically the only problem with the pot. But kind of a big one. Whoop. Well, it's been about a week since the last video clip. And the Harbor Freight rock tumbler is performing better. But I'll tell you what I did. I take no great satisfaction in saying this. But I lost my cool that last night when it was jumping and bumping. And I sprayed right here and the corresponding spot here with way too much WD-40. Because like I said, I was upset, like fire hazard amounts of WD-40. And the only thing I can figure is it must have diluted that 40-year-old grease that I had put in there and loosened it up enough so it's actually lubricating. And it's been working ever since. And you know, you can see the plastic, the dust from these things, when that roller would quit rolling, it'd jump up like this and catch on that lip. Anyway, it's working today, and that's about all you can ever say for a Harbor Freight tool, honestly. I'll be back when this sumbitch catches fire or breaks completely, one or the other. Anyway, thanks for watching, I guess. Sorry you had to watch it. As always, I'd like to start off with an apology for whatever train wreck of a video you have watched up to this point. The extra parts are in. It's shorter. First thing I noticed is it is shorter. If you line this up, it doesn't look like there's much of a difference at this end, but if you line up those flanges right there, it measures exactly 1.5 inches burned out, and you can see how close the pipe is right there, whereas on this one, this part wasn't razor sharp this time, so that's a plus. Way to go, Double Forge. Not slash your customers' fingers open. It's always a way to get repeat business. So, obviously it wasn't as bad as I had feared. I think I'd said 3 or 4 inches. The video you just watched was shot probably 3 weeks ago. This took forever to come in. Has to come from Poland or where the hell ever. So yeah, 1.5 inches burned off the end. And it was definitely enough to change the shape of the flame. It was less broad, more directed. Didn't seem like it would extend the life of the furnace. In fact, just the opposite, right? So that's why I replaced it. $66 just for that part. Shipped from halfway around the world. Probably could have got plumbing parts for about 30 bucks, done the same job. But we were going to go with a OEM replacement this particular time. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I will see you next time.
Man, Mountain Link has once again totally outdone himself.
Cheers.